Thank you for joining us in this webinar of the CPT Christian Peacemaker Teams Colombia. We want to commemorate the 20 years of CPT arriving in Colombia. And we want to recognize the organization, the people that have come and made some accompaniment in Colombia. Well,
bottom of your screen, and you will have a little glow,
we would like to know the place where you are joining. Please feel free to write your names, the place where you are connecting from, so we can also share the thoughts of the panelists. My name is Marcela and Pierre, and we are members of the CPT and some recommendations. We are not able to see you or hear you. If you have any questions, please write it down on the chat section that's located on the lower part of the screen. At the end of the presentations, we will take some time to answer, to give the responses to the questions. If you are able to, if we are not able to answer, we will be able to write it after, and we will put the email on the chat. Nati will help us with the information that you guys will be writing on the chat, and also be able to, so that for the people that are still do not know us, so allow me just a moment. And we work together to transform violence and oppression. So if you want to obtain more information about CPT, you can visit our website, cpt.cpt cpt.org. So now I will be giving a brief review about CPT Colombia. So CPT arrived in Colombia in 2001, accepting the invitation of the Mennonite Church of Colombia. This 20 years have passed. We have accompanied communities and organizations in Magdalena Medio and Northwest Antioquia. We also accompany community process in the defense of the territories of El Garzal, Guayabo, the Pavas, and also with the Human Action Corporation for Coexistence and Peace, and the Regional Corporation for the Defense of Human Rights, CREDOS. And to deepen what this long journey has been and has meant, a journey full of stories, hopes, teachings, and above all, solidarity. We welcome the people who are part of this panel today. So we have four amazing people that will be your speakers. The first one, we'll have Alex Lozano. She's a pastor and also a theologian of the Mennonite Church of Colombia. This was the inviting organization that invited CPT to Colombia. So Alex also was a counselor here in Colombia. And Alex decided to join CPT Colombia and has participated on several occasions as a member of the CPT program here in Magdalena Medio. Salvador Alcantara and his wife Nidia has been pastors of the Four Square Gospel Church in the community of El Garzal in the South Bolivar region for the last 25 years. He is the leader of the process for the defense of the land of Garzal and Nueva Esperanza. And this process, CPT has accompanied this process since 2007. Christine Ferran, she's from Canada. She was part of the initial team of the 4 people that came to Colombia to explore the locations for the program site. She currently works as a school librarian and grows much of her own food as possible as part of her life as a farmer. Dwayne Editor is from the United States. He was also part of the initial team of the 4 people from the Scout group. Dwayne is also a CPT reservist and worked for environment justice in the United States. So we want to hear the voices of all the speakers. So Alex, we want to start with you. We have 2 questions for you. So we will start with the first one. The first one is, why did the Mennonite Church of Colombia felt it was important for CPT to come to Colombia? So welcome, Alex. We're listening to your voice. Alex says, good evening. I am very honored that I was invited by the Colombia team to be able to share about the memories and the history of CPT in Colombia. So turning 20 years from the social and cultural point of view is to begin to reach the full age of majority, where full rights are acquired, where you can marry, vote, among other things. So the truth is that with 20 years, CPT has already reached the first adolescence. So it's starting the second adolescence. So the question that was made to me was, why did the Mennonite Church of Colombia felt it was important for CPT to come to Colombia? So at the end of the 90s, Colombia was experiencing the dark and heartbreaking years of war. So the prophetic witness from the Christian churches was not clear, facing an active involvement in the construction of peace. So the Mennonite Church of Colombia, with its history, commitment, and legacy work for peace, was aware of the work of CPT in United States and its presence in other countries, um, giving accompaniment to organization and people with that were in vulnerable position. So this was seen as an opportunity to move the churches toward non-violent alternatives in the construction of peace. So there was a discernment among the national leadership. So it began the internal discernment in the national leadership, and they started dialogues with the first CPT director, Jean Stolfus. It resulted in an official invitation to CPT to come to Colombia under the umbrella of the IMCOL. So this happened in 2000, and that year, the CPT sent the first exploratory delegation of 12 people, and that story will be shared by Dwayne and Christine. Thank you, Alex. So 1 year after that CPT came to Colombia, IMCOL encouraged people to enter CPT. So this made a result that people enter the Colombia. That so today CPT has people that are foreigners and also nationals. So we would like to know, how was this? What was your experience to be able to um, so I would like to start and share uh, what was the motivation for him called to invite CPT. So we were talking of the 90s, and CPT had a policy that there were no nationals in the country that CPT was present. All the teams were only for foreigners. There was no national. So like this rise two situations that come to my mind. So one of the motivations that we have that to invite CPT was to be able to involve the church in peace activities, especially young people. These were new generations. This will be the people that would take the reins of the church in the construction of peace, and thus continuing the alliances. So in 2002, so the government in at that moment began to deny the visas to many NGOs and organizations, and there was also a time of persecution, especially to peace workers. And CPT was denied visas, the renewal of visas. So CPT had two options. It could either raise the tents and leave the country permanently, meanwhile the things change, or rethink the internal policy of the only foreigners in the teams. So to my opinion, very intelligently, they decided on the second option, that there were that nationals were also allowed in the team. So in December of 2002, the first delegation was conformed. Then they gave the name of Christmas delegation, with 3 nationals: Sandra Milena Rincon, Adai Bernal, and Julian Carreño. I do not know if there's more people. If there's more people, please correct me. So they started the in the team as interns, and then they were trained, and then they became part of the Colombian team. So we currently in this webinar, we have the presence of Sandra Milena, who is now the director, the program director of CPT. So we saw that crisis in CPT as an opportunity to enlarge the place of your tent, as Isaiah 54:2 stated. They review the policy, they enable the entry of Colombian nationals, and this opened the door so other teams, other nationals on other teams could be part of the teams in their country. So there are some statistics. They are like 18 national delegations have been carrying out, 160 Colombian delegates, 3 international trainings, and this means approximately 160 Colombian delegates. There are also 3 international trainings have been carrying out in Colombia. So 26 Colombians have been trained, 20 have entered CPT, and now these people, 4 Colombians have also served in other countries. And the current team is currently composed of 5 people, 4 nationals and 1 Canadian. So this is showing how the situation was transformed. So in relation with my experience of joining the team as a national, let me share with you that when I became part of CPT had a mission or a statement that raised questions. So what if Christians dedicated themselves to the nonviolent construction of peace with the same discipline and dedication in which armies dedicate themselves to wars? So that phrase gave, and the meaning between the lines connected with me positively with CPT and the working Magdalena Medio, accompanying the campesino communities and organizations, their struggles, life. So I felt that my experience of faith of so many years, a piece of a great framework, was missing to the meaning of my spiritual walk. So I came to a CPT, and it became like Anabaptist in the 16th century said, my third baptism. And this means what this meant to me, knowing like firsthand the different Colombias in which I live, the campesino. This broadened my panorama to understand that Colombian was not only urban, there was many cultures, many places, many people, that the process of identifying violence and oppression should begin with myself and then transform them, and thus walk with others and jointly find the way out. Also, it taught me that being a CPTer did not consist of only putting the cape, as some team members said. It was a meeting between human beings to humanize them ourselves. That we, like working together, we built solutions, and we had the same yearning and desires to fight. This was a way to confront and understand my own internalized and normalized violence and oppressions, just to decolonizing my mind and acquire practices, understand that the key to the journey was the encounter to discover ourselves and be united in the search for solutions, actions, complaint, prayers. So also voice recovery to be heard. So thank you, Alex. Alex has been a co-worker here in Magdalena Medio, and she brings a lot of wisdom, very strong wisdom to participate here. So she brings a lot of wisdom to this work. Thank you for that testimony. So we want to invite to Christine and Dwayne to um, share how was the experience to um, what was the experience of the arrival of the team here in Colombia. Christine, can you please, how can, about this experience? It was your first time, Christine? You had the responsibility where CPT would be located. Can you please share a little bit about that experience? And Karen is doing the interpretation. Please, can you help with the rhythm and the speed to be able to help out with the interpretation? So Christine, can you please share about your experience? Thank you very much uh, to all of you. It is a pleasure to be here with you guys. For me, the time in Colombia was a time of mixed emotions. I love meeting Colombian people so much. Each day I was inspired by people working for a country for peace. Meanwhile, their environment was experiencing serious violence, creative people, people with passion. So I found people who impressed me a lot, patience that had patience to explain this history, the situation, the problems in the regions. I felt a little bit helpless to help out um, uh, in the way that I wanted. Our time in Colombia was divided between many meetings with NGOs, with our advisors, the men in our church, and the organization that became our partners. For example, a program for peace. We went to visit parts of the country to consider the best location for CPT and to have Colombian, a permanent Colombian team. So we receive warnings from various people, our contacts, heads of our various organizations, to be careful with our actions. We risk losing the support of the embassy, for example. Also to do things slowly, to not show ourselves as part of a group from the beginning, because that can be seen as a bias towards a group. We had the challenge to find ways to do typical CPT actions, but very carefully. So it was an honor to find and learn more about the OFP, Popular Women's Organization. These women were an example of courage and endurance and strength. They continue working, and their protection sanctuaries remain open, although they were receiving a lot of pressure and direct threats toward them. And so, for example, in 2001, when we were in Barranca, the Women's Day was declared a military objective. Imagine that. They consider themselves the ombudsman and they stayed to offer their support to women who needed their support, and that impressed me a lot. We stayed for with them for a few nights in their shelters. The nights were very tense due to the threats, and knowing that there was a little time, some armed people entered to request the passport of members of the international peace brigades and also of the OFP. So that was very interesting. The weeks that we were in Bogota, I participated with the Las Mujeres en Negra initiative. We we did a walk and made anonymous demonstrations in front of government buildings. It was a way of showing that women are always the targets of violence. And this idea came from women in Palestine who also did the same. Also, there were so many groups using the talents and passions for peace. We found a street theater group in Colombia that they were denouncing violence and impunity. They used clown and stilts, and also this is something different and a way that made people appreciated by people. The two of our team members accompany them in a tour further the north. So we also traveled to Narino and Putumayo to meet people from communities that in the community of the Hormiga, the ant, who suffer from the aerial fumigations by Plan Colombia. We they were we that war was also an environmental war. We also learned from people in Colombia, Plan Colombia, that about the destructive effects on people, the complexity of the U.S. and multinational corporations. So the glyphosate and Novartis were used in doses 4 to 8 times stronger than recommended on agricultural crops. So people were affected physically, emotionally. They had to take refuge in other parts, in Ecuador and other parts of Colombia, because were not able to continue living in that place. They were with fear. There were so many difficulties, and it was difficult to live with the fact that my nationality uh, was privileged and was implicated in some of the realities. So we finally decided to settle in Barranca Bermeja. The Paracos entered Barranca in December 2000. So against impunity and for life, Barranca lives. That was like the catchphrase at that time. So so it was something that people were fighting for and that they were speaking about. So we also spent time accompanying people in the veredas in Magdalena Medio. Many people were displaced by armed groups and wanted to return to safety. We went to visit Las Nieques, Colorado, Puerto Ite to find people if they were still living there and hear their stories. We met also with armed groups who were very surprised to see us. We had we had to walk for over an hour to get cell phone reception, and that was one of the challenges to working in that place. Maybe it's still happening. In Barranca, we went to like patrols in making the armed group, making our presence known to the armed groups. And the 3 months like went very quickly. Colombia is like a great country with a lot of diversity, unfortunately with a lot of violence. It was difficult for me to limit ourselves to one place, but 20 years later, it it seems that Barranca was a good place to settle. So this is my story. Thank you very much. So thank you, Christine. So the act that the OFP uh, did with you guys still has impact with CPT because it's still one of the alliances that CPT currently has. We give companionship one to the other. So Dwayne, Christine shared a broader context, but what was the moment that you guys decided, okay, this is the place that we will establish CPT? Can you please share what was the decision? And also share how that experience was personal to you. So good afternoon with Dwayne. I am speaking from Tucson, Arizona. I want to recognize the two other members of our team that are not present. So Janet and Keen, hopefully they're listening. So Christine and myself, we visited several places in the country. So so there was a lot of opportunities, and we had to consider several criteria. Among them, who are the alliances and the partners that we can establish and create. Also be able to work together against violence, construct in a local way, strengthen the groups that are already in existence. Also that make actions that outside of Colombia, there is also a knowledge and a presence for violence against violence in Colombia. In Barranca, there was a tradition in the church for the benefit of the community. We we created a vigil in the city of Barranca Bermeja. There was like a welcoming. This gave the possibility to construct peace with people that were already that had already many years in that making that effort. So as Christine was mentioning, there was like few months after that, after the invasion of the paramilitary, there was a lot of tension, and there was a presence to recognize the people that were suffering a lot. I want to talk about that before we created the project proposal. We also wanted to, we went to a walk in the streets of the community, and we were walking in the neighborhood in Kennedy. There were some armed men that were dressed halfway militaries and also like civilians. They didn't wear any identification. that when we spoke to the other people, they said, oh, those are the paramilitary group. So we came back to the and talked to the chief police, and so that they could go and investigate if they were paramilitary groups. But in many countries, those groups are take advantage of the fear that people do not have, that the people in those armed groups can do anything with impunity. So sometimes the people has a lot of fear because of this, the supposed impunity. So we wanted to work to correct that injustice. Maybe not many things could be done, but we could document the situations. We also wanted to let them know that we had the knowledge of the things that they were doing. We documented a lot of things. That also was useful for the team members after us. In the year 2000, where many uh, villages and villagers were displaced because of the paramilitary, and then the land that was left behind became um, became plant. The you Pierre, you said that we wanted what we wanted to do. I want to make conscious of the people that consume palm oil. This is an example that us, we in a countries, we go to stores that sell products that use palm oil that was actually from the places that were displaced in Colombia. So that made a concrete connection between the consumism of several countries and the suffering in other places when it's not balanced with humanity, with commitment, with justice. So I think this, I think that this um, I can finish with that. I consider the words of the Pastor Salvador very important. Dwayne, thank you very much for sharing this context. It was a very difficult time. Still today, it's a very complicated region with a very difficult situation. I want to greet and welcome Carol, that's in the background with Dwayne. Scott, Carol, and we came to Colombia to establish the permanent project. We were so young, we were under 25. So Jean sent Carol to our team to bring wisdom and maturity to the team in Colombia. So thank you very much, Carol, for bringing us the wisdom and the maturity that we needed back then. So we want to give the welcome to Pastor Salvador. It's so nice to have you here. The Garzal in Colombia that has been not acknowledged by the state. They do not have access to internet. This is the first time that the pastor connects to internet. So we are celebrating the occasion to have the opportunity to listen to the voice of someone that is from the country, from that. So, so the Marcel is asking how is the experience that you received when CPT came to give accompaniment to El Garzal. They're explaining how to unmute the microphone to the pastor. Can you listen? Can you hear me? Good evening. I am thankful that I am able to see you, Pierre, especially all the people that have been invited. So for us, the arrival of CPT to El Garzal was I was in 2007 was very important. So an organization did a forum to share information about the land. It was in the and CPT arrived because the organization was inviting by another organization that was accompanying the uh, the so the 1st of September there was a in El Garzal there was an activity of the an action to be able to defend the land. So that day of that activity, something happened. We were only expecting people that we had invited. We did not expect the army. So apparently, the army did something that they planned. So the army came into the place we were having the activity. The army was persecuting a drug dealer, and the people that were protecting the drug dealer were paramilitaries. So we so so we were going out with the outside the gathering and going to the community of the Nueva Esperanza. We were delaying the time of the movement. So 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 during that event, they captured two people that were being part of the group of the drug dealer, and the chief police called me and requested me to identify that two persons. And in that gathering, I said no because I thought that was an area in the police. So in that gathering, there was CPT. Sandra Milena arrived was one of the first people that arrived to El Garzal, and that's when the community requested CPT to give accompaniment, especially on the human rights defense. So, so at that time, CPT told us that it was not possible. So this have the this comes like a Bible story that when like the Bible story that the son that was invited to work did not go, and then we received the accompaniment of the Jesuits. So CPT said no, and after that incident, and that we saw that we needed more help, we were feeling depression because of the paramilitary. We had an ultimatum that if we did not leave the territory, uh, we would face consequence. So I think that because of this situation that we were living, the situation touched the CPT leadership. So in 2009, they started the giving accompaniment to the El Garzal community. So this is what I want to share. This is how CPT entered the community. They saw the threats that we were experiencing, and we are so grateful because after saying no, um, because I think I have learned that CPT first make some meetings to be able to see if the accompaniment is possible. If not, they make some actions. So can you share? Can you share how this accompaniment has been to the El Garzal people displaced by legal methods? How, what things and what is the effect of the community to have all these alliances? This is a network of many organizations. So I think that you are asking of CPTs. So one of the experiences that CPT has started the accompaniment, the I think that from 2004 to 2007, uh, like before CPT entered the community, we had to go and denounce the things that were happening. We went to the police, and they said that the things that were happening in the community was not important to be able to make the denounce. And from 2004 to 2007, the police did not take anything that we went and shared with them. I had to go to speak with the colonel directly and to tell them, oh, in the community we have presence of the paramilitary. So We need help if we have to give specific information about their location. We are willing to do so. So when CPT entered the community, we requested them to go with us to denounce the things at the police. The first time they went with me, so when we arrived to the police, that day that they saw me with the people, with the CPT, they came because they saw me with CPT. They came forward towards me and gave me a personal attention I was not expected. And after experiencing that, in that day, we saw light. We saw that this was a way to work with the um, international observers. So it's so sad that people from outside the country have to come and put order to our country. When the judge in 2008, when he was going to give an order to displace the community, we have to we had to go to with a lawyer. And when the judge saw that CPT was given companionship, that provoked that the judge um, eliminated that displacement order. So we we feel that CPT is part of a family. We during this process we had no trust in the institutions. We didn't trust no one, and then CPT came and arrived, and that helped helped us build trust with other organizations. We only trusted them. We only trusted CPT because we felt that they were the only ones that understood the situations that we were living. That was very that was a very important presence during all this process. It was a very tense situation. Personally, when a dog barked during the night, it brought me so much anxiety that I felt that it was my last day. So CPT, uh, they made the agendas to visit the communities, and many times we had to interrupt that agenda because we would call them for help, and we will call them one day and the next day they will be arriving. Uh, and that accompanieship made that the threat level decrease. We also give thanks to God because he is part of all this, and he put CPT in our past. I do not know if you have any other questions. This having CPT and their work has been an experience very important to make visible our situation. So CPT CPT delegations are very important to make our situation more visible. In 2008, they made the first delegation. Most of them were Colombians. There was a person from Chile. It was um, Tere. She came in that delegation from Chile, and other people continue visiting in international delegations. In one of the delegations, the director of Latin American of the World Council of Churches was part of one of the delegations. Then there was another delegation. Almost all people were pastors. So all these delegations help to make visible the all the corruption that existed in the national level, and that it went up to the government. Also, we did this helped do advocacy with the President Santos. So, thank you very much for this story, for bringing us memories of that time. Thank you very much. And uh, thank you very much for all the people that were part of the panelists. We uh, made a remembrance with during the process of accompaniment and also social justice. We know that this is a topic that we could speak for many, many years. So we understand that our technical problems resulted in us taking a little bit more time. We want to make two invitations. So the first invitation is to invite you to stay with us a little bit more. What we know, we are aware that we have extended the time. So please, can you stay with us a little bit more? We want to share that that is that is that is something an activity that is common in the organization. We are requesting and asking you to donate. In the chat section, you can find the uh, donate donate page for CPT, because CPT, the main source of funds that CPT has is through donations. This way we get the necessary resources for our work as a team, for our work with our partners. So please, we are asking for a donation. You will find the link in the chat section. So if you are not able to donate, please include CPT in your prayers, because these two ways are ways to support our work and CPT. We also want to share a video. It is very important. So Julie, like Pastor Salvador said, that a way of helping out is to do advocacy with other organizations. This video will help you guys do advocacy. So we're still having a technical problems, but we can. Okay, they're discussing. They're having technical problems. So please enjoy this video, and we will later on share the campaign.
Pero lo cierto es que a lo largo de nuestros 35 años de trabajo, hemos aprendido que cada acción sí...
Un momentico, qué pena.
I'm sorry. Just give us a moment.
Cuando se comparta, le da la elección de sonido del computador.
So when the video is shared, there's an option to share the audio from the computer. That's what Blaine said.
Muchas veces nos enfrentamos a las preguntas: ¿qué puedo hacer yo para cambiar un sistema que no quiere ser cambiado? ¿Será que mis acciones realmente logran un cambio? Y podríamos conformarnos con la idea de que nuestra voluntad es suficiente para generar una transformación real de la violencia en el mundo. Pero lo cierto es que a lo largo de nuestros 35 años de trabajo, hemos aprendido que cada acción sí cuenta, que cada acción vale, que cada acción importa e impacta.
En Colombia, quienes trabajan por la defensa de los derechos humanos, el territorio y la vida, han vivido históricamente bajo una constante persecución política y militar por parte del gobierno y de los actores armados legales e ilegales, que ven en ellas y ellos un peligro para sus intereses. Este es un conflicto interno que no cesa, que a febrero de este año más de 20 voces ya han sido silenciadas y para el 2020 apagó la vida de más de 300 defensoras y defensores.
Es evidente que no basta un acuerdo de paz si un gobierno realmente no se compromete con defender la vida y la justicia social.
Justicia social
es como la reparación por parte del Estado colombiano a todas esas afectaciones que nos han causado todos aquellos autores armados.
La justicia social para mí es un desarrollo para la comunidad, que haya economía y que haya bienestar para toda la región.
que tengamos una buena vivienda, que tengamos todos los servicios básicos, que tengamos el pedacito de tierra para cultivar.
Justicia social es darle a las personas lo que les corresponde, todas las personas que hacen parte de, en este caso, de un país.
Que haya puesto de salud, que haya inversión social para el campo, para el campesino.
Pasar también por el derecho al respeto de nuestra fauna, de nuestra flora, ¿cierto? Es decir, por el derecho a que nosotros y nuestros campesinos podamos vivir en el campo de una forma muy natural.
Justicia social entonces implica también la erradicación de toda forma de opresión, de toda forma de discriminación y desigualdad social.
Tener derecho al territorio, tener derecho a la vida, a la salud.
Tendremos justicia social cuando tengamos equidad, cuando tengamos todos una igualdad, cuando tengamos lo que realmente un ser humano necesita para vivir dignamente.
Educación, salud y paz en la región.
Y para mí, pues la justicia social es como encontrar esos espacios de equilibrio en promover la igualdad en una comunidad.
Tener la alimentación, tener la educación, tener la vivienda y tener todo un proyecto productivo o un empleo digno, bien remunerado para poder que la gente vivan en calma y en tranquilidad.
Pero que en la realidad es una utopía, es una lucha, es un escenario que se tiene que disputar constantemente y que no se presenta.
Nosotros reclamamos la justicia social.
En Colombia, las lideresas y líderes defensores de derechos humanos trabajan para la materialización de la justicia social en sus territorios.
Las amenazas y asesinato a estas lideresas y líderes sociales rompe el tejido social comunitario al tiempo que profundiza la desigualdad social y la violencia en nuestra sociedad.
En ECA rechazamos el asesinato sistemático de aquellos quienes luchan y trabajan por la dignificación de las personas y la justicia social.
Por eso te invitamos a sumarte a esta campaña de solidaridad internacional, firmando nuestra carta.
Y así exigir garantías de protección y respeto para el ejercicio de defender los derechos humanos, el territorio y la vida.
Firma esta carta y alza tu voz por la justicia social.
Firma esta carta y alza tu voz por la justicia social.
Firma esta carta y alza tu voz por la justicia social.
Firma esta carta, alza tu voz por la justicia social.
Firma esta carta y alza tu voz por la justicia social.
Nos pide firmar, pero nos explican cómo.
Perfecto. En el chat podrán...
Sorry. Dwayne asked, can you please explain how do we sign the petition? And then Marcela is saying that on the link, there is a link that goes to where you can sign the petition. That is an initiative of the Colombian team to make a international campaign of solidarity. We want to raise our voice for the human rights defenders so that, sorry, they go fast. So we want many places to know about this petition. When we started the video, we were asked, do you think that small action will be useful? But as a team, we know that this small action can work with another action, and in a joint effort, we can make a difference. We can have many people around the world raising the voice to work against oppression, violence, against murder, because right now here in the country, people get murdered just to raise their voice. And that your support also supports people that live here, that get the families killed or themselves just to work for justice. So if you are part of an organization, You can sign the petition as an individual and also as a organization. Please invite other people to participate. Please share with Facebook Live. You also can share the you can also find the information in our Facebook profile. And please join us in this international campaign. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we have some questions that we received in the social media. I believe that many people didn't write the questions because you were very entertained and very connected to the topic. We didn't receive much questions, but you can send the questions to the CPT email. Nati will write the email account in the chat section. You can send your questions in regards to the webinar, the campaign, or any other topic. We really love to know that people are interested in our work in the communities that we give accompaniment. Thank you very much. Like Marcela just expressed, sadly, since 2016, since 2016, there has been 200 people killed. The Pastor Salvador, because of his leadership and his work, has also received threats. And when you guys take time to sign this petition, you are supporting and helping out Pastor Salvador and the communication. Please raise your voice and sign the petition. We also share about our work using the media. So we can, social media, you can follow us. We share information, we share videos, because we have been creating many videos because of all this reality, this new reality that we have been living from almost a year. We have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook accounts. Thank you very much. Thank you for staying with us. And thank you very much for every person that was part of this panelists. Thank you for the stories. Thank you for being part of CPT history. Thank you for sharing and working with the CPT for your dreams, for peace, for justice, and for the defense of human rights. Especially thank you for with Karen, because we know that we are not responsible to speak slowly. So thank you for interpreting and for the service that you are providing, because interpretation is not easy. So thank you very much for this being part with us in this virtual space. And thank you very much for your work. Thank you for all the people that have been writing to us. We are not able to mention everybody, but we would like to just mention in general. Thank you for your presence, and we wish you well. Thank you that you have a good night. Christine, Dwayne, Pastor Salvador, thank you very much. May God bless you. Thank you to all the people that were part of this event. Milena, Julie, Nati, Alejo, thank you very much. An hour and a half. Hugs.